What's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back. Down one on the evening. No Artie, but we got a pay-per-view event here with my beautiful, lovely co-host, Doc. Doc, how we feeling?
Feeling great. Always ready for these UFC pay-per-view events. Let's get it going.
Yes, sir. And after many cancellations, we got the main event, Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. We're going to do it a little bit different. So if you guys see two podcasts at once, we're going to cover the main card right now, and in a separate video, we'll do the prelims. And you guys let us know what you think of that. But without further ado, on your screen are our picks. Artie's not here, so his picks are there. Locks of the card, Artie is taking Yuri Prochazka. I'm taking Andre Touchy-Feely, and Doc's taking Joe Pyfer. So those are our locks. The parlay will add up. And yeah, if you want to ride with the boys, ride with the boys. But yeah, we'll get right into the fights. That's your main card picks. Alex Pereira. It's no secret that Alex Pereira is champ, defending his belt against Yuri Prochazka. Alex Pereira fighting Jamal Hill at UFC 300 in his last fight, being a company man and turning it around on short notice. And he's going to fight Yuri. Yuri also doing this on short notice because, this man by the name of Conor McGregor's pinky toe kind of hurt one day. And he was like, I don't want to fight that weekend, even though people pay tens of thousands of dollars. But it is what it is. I'd rather have this fight. And Doc, I'll go to you right after, but I'm taking Alex Pereira, and I think it's quite obvious. But I'll let Doc do some synopsis on why it's quite obvious to us.
You must really like saying Alex Pereira.
Pereira.
You've been working on it. You've been working on it.
That I have.
Yeah. Super. You're very right. I'm very excited for this main event. I can't believe it came together so quickly. Both of these guys are warriors. They are company fighters, and they are the types of people that can fight for BMF belts because they never say no to a challenge. They always want to get better. And when the challenge comes up, they say yes. So this is going to be a very entertaining fight. The first fight was very entertaining. I am taking Pereira because of what I saw in that first fight, where if he lands one time clean, everyone in the division is going down. And that's all it took the first time. And he's gotten better since then. His wrestling D was shown off in that first fight. His striking is fantastic. And at this weight, his power is more than anybody else. And I don't know if it's necessarily his power because or if it's his technique. But whatever he does makes people fall asleep. Last fight, I think there was some question about whether or not the fight was stopped early, but because of that fight being stopped when it was stopped, Yuri Prochazka was able to come back, put on a fantastic performance, and is able to be healthy enough to take this fight. So we're in for a treat here. It could go either way. I'm taking Pereira because of the technique, the power, and this is not going the distance. One way or the other, this is not going to be a boring fight. Let's get to it.
Did you have my script? Because you said everything I was going to say. Yuri Prochazka's Artie's lock of the card. I know Yuri and Artie have a fandom, and they love each other very much. Artie even bought the Book of Five Rings. He was telling me behind the scenes, and he read into it, and he loves the samurai way, and he thinks Yuri's going to come different. And I think he's just trying to mirror Doc's unfortunate picking powers recently. So we'll see, Doc, if you break that. But all I'll say is we started the podcast with this fight. This was like the first paper event we did, I think, at 295. I get to reuse this thumbnail, so I'm very happy. It's very lazy effort on my part. And I learned my lesson taking the wrong side, and I'm rocking with Alex Pereira. Yeah, that's going to be a big main event. We'll see what happens. And
just one more thing to say about Yuri. Yuri put on a great performance against Rakic in that last fight. One thing that did happen in that fight was he got his legs kicked to oblivion. Rakic wasn't able to slow down Prochazka with those leg kicks enough to stop the eventual knockout. We've seen videos of Pereira's leg kicks, and they are deadly. So I really hope that he's been working on that defense, and we'll see where it goes. But he was very close to losing his last fight, and Pereira just has too much experience, too many fights under his belt to not finish it off when he gets Yuri in trouble, which is inevitable in my opinion.
Agreed fully. And he's like, They're both doing side quests. Yuri Prohaska's taking pictures with fans at an airport, drinking beers like a week before fights. Alex Pereira is like helping fans fix tires. They're just built different. That's all I gotta say. Co-main event: Brian Ortega taking on Diego Hands of Dynamite Lopez, as I like to call him, the Ring Boys Hall of Fame Diego Lopez fan club. But we can't ring the bell yet, Doc. It's not a ringer from the Ring Boys. Artie's rocking with Brian Ortega. We're rocking with Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez is the favorite, minus 150. And I don't see how he loses. I honestly don't see how he loses. Sure, we could go to the ground game, but I think Diego's clinch, and I think Diego's experience and his win streak, he's just too hot. He's too ready to go. Brian Ortega, this means more, and he wants this more for his career and what he's gone through in his life. And yeah, that may be good, but when you have talent and hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, in my opinion. I think Diego Lopez is going to absolutely knock out Brian Ortega, or he'll win it by boring decision. I don't see it going the other way. Dana White announced at the press conference that they're both going to get fight of the night performances. So Brian Ortega jokingly was like, make it $303,000. Dana's like, I'll do it. Not $303,000, but I'll do it. I was just like, oh, this is cringe. But yeah, the ground game of Brian Ortega in the stand-up game, I don't think is going to be enough to take down a hot Diego Lopez. Doc, what are your thoughts?
My first thought is that the biggest shock from our picks is this one with Artie not rolling with his boy Diego Lopez. With the amount of hate that he's had for Brian Ortega, I really wish that he could be here to let us know why he has this change in heart. This is going to be a really interesting fight. I agree with you. I think Diego Lopez is going to win here. I think Diego Lopez is going to win by knockout here. Brian Ortega put on a tremendous performance against Yair Rodriguez, who's likely a better striker than Diego Lopez, but he's not as well-rounded as Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez is young in his career, which is the only advantage that Brian Ortega has over him, the experience, and I guess the submission game. But regardless, Brian Ortega, fantastic performance last time. Diego Lopez, one of the best performances ever to start his career here. Other than the Movsar Evloev, shout out my fantasy team. But
No.
but yeah, I'm excited for this fight. This could potentially, it's hard to know, is this going to be the fight of the night, or is the main event going to be the fight of the night? Both are going to be bangers. Can't wait to see it. Let's go Diego Lopez. I don't think it's a smart bet per se, because Brian Ortega is always dangerous. But Diego Lopez is winning this one. Let's go with knockout. He's too fast for Brian Ortega.
Hands of Dynamite Lopez. That's what I'm calling him. Hands of Dynamite. Over to our original co-main event, and you look at the paper and it says Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze. Not what it was supposed to be originally. It's supposed to be Yamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree. That gets canceled. Yamal Hill is supposed to fight Carlos Ulberg. That gets canceled. Anthony Smith's supposed to fight Carlos Ulberg. That gets canceled. And now we got Anthony Smith on what, 2-week notice, 12-day notice, and Roman Dolidze fighting out of his weight class. Oh man, the fight game. But Anthony Smith coming off that big win, ending Vitor Petrino's undefeated reign. He's a company man. He's been doing this since 2008. Whenever he gets the call, he's going to pick up the phone. He's going to come. But after watching him give Khalil Roundtree a little trouble before he got knocked out, that is, I mean, I kind of like the intangibles. I think Anthony Smith can bully Roman Dolidze, and will, because he's riding the streak. He's hot. He's talking about a title fight, which it's like, slow down. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And I think he's going to take his first bite with Roman Dolidze. Doc, prove me wrong.
We'll see. I picked my fantasy team. I keep on mentioning my fantasy team, but it's because they keep fighting. They keep coming up, and that's exactly why I chose my fantasy team. They are a bunch of warriors that don't say no to a challenge. Roman Dolidze, tough performance last time out. Got outclassed, got out wrestled, got tired at the end. I wonder if it has to do with the weight cut. He looked massive for the middleweight division his entire career, so it should be interesting to see what he does at light heavyweight. I'm interested in seeing his power. And he feels more youthful than Anthony Smith. So that's why I'm taking him. I think that he does have enough power to knock out Anthony Smith. This may go to decision, but I'm expecting Roman Dolidze. With how much time he's taken off, he's worked on a lot of things in the meantime. He means a lot to the country of Georgia. So that's why I'm going to take Roman Dolidze here. Both weren't expecting to have this fight. So I think in terms of that, They're on even playing field, but I believe in Roman Dolidze. He has a lot to fight for here.
I agree on the even playing field. I don't agree on the confidence aspect. That's why I'm riding with Anthony Smith. I like taking the veteran fighter here. I like that he's hot. He's coming off, a legit victory off a legit opponent in his own. Wasn't he in Brazil when he did it too? When he beat Vitor Petrino?
I think he was. That was the only one
on
that
home
didn't
soil.
win.
On home soil, it ruined the All Brazil parlay. How can you not? And that's probably why I'm going to be wrong. Little fantasy update. Doc, 20 points. Myself, 13. RD, 24. I'm coming back. I promise. Khamzat Chimaev's not going to stop me from coming back. Moving on to another fantasy fighter, Myro Bueno Silva for Hardy's team. You like that connection? Fighting Macy Chasson. And yeah, this one was, I'm not going to lie to you, Doc. This one I'll be taking my bathroom break on, personally. But Myro Bueno Silva losing to Raquel Pennington, getting absolutely dominated. Not finished, but dominated. And, when you get a title fight, you want to get it back. And you gotta make do for your next opponent quite easily. And it doesn't seem like she's going to be able to do that with Macy Chiasson. So I think Myra is definitely more explosive. It's a pick'em, minus 110 each. But I like that Myra is going to be a little bit more, not humble per se, but hungrier to get back up the ranks and solidify herself that, hey, I'm still a title contender. Don't worry about what I just went through. I'm still here. And she's got to do it in incredible fashion, convincing fashion. Otherwise, her stock's going to slip. Doc?
Yeah, I really didn't know which way to go with this fight. Myra Bueno Silva had a tremendous fight against Holly Holm that got overturned because she had some performance-enhancing drugs. She got completely outclassed by Raquel Pennington. And that was because she couldn't get up off the ground. So Macy Chiasson, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We'll see what she does, but she also just has this reach advantage that I'm not confident that Bueno Silva will be able to overcome. She probably had to do that against Holly Holm, but 2 losses in a row. Confidence is a bit shot for Bueno Silva. She's a good fighter, not the best fighter in the division. Macy Chiasson, I think, more up and coming, has the length, has very pure striking, maybe not the same amount of power, but we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting a decision with this fight, and yeah, I think coin flip it makes sense. But Chiasson is the one that the UFC should want to win because she would be a way more exciting prospect compared to Bueno Silva.
I get that MMA math never adds up, but Myra Bueno Silva, didn't she take Raquel Pennington to a decision, even though it was like 49-46, 49-45 all over the board?
Yeah, it wasn't close.
Raquel Pennington submitted Macy Chiasson. That's all I'm saying. If we want to use that as the focal point, I get it never adds up. I get it was 3 years ago, but it's too good to not count out, in my opinion.
Doesn't matter, in my opinion.
I don't think so either. I just give me something, okay?
Nope.
Ian Gary's back.
This out to the listeners. That's
Ian
right.
Gary's back. Ian Gary fighting Michael Page. A lot of words exchanged. If you watched the press conference just now before we recorded, Doc, I don't know if you know this yet, but Ian Gary mentioned that Michael Page paid money to have someone DM someone in Shoot the Box camp and ask what Ian Gary's working on. That claim, don't know if it's true. If so, that's kind of a weird move. Michael Page seemed cool, calm, collective as a cucumber, ready to go, ready to get after Ian Gary. And after watching Michael Page not dominate, but frustrate Kevin Holland, I think that's a pretty good bet to take as an underdog. But I think the UFC doesn't want to get rid of Ian Gary's stock. And if Michael Page doesn't do it in a convincing fashion, I think the judges will sway towards Ian Gary. And I think this is going to be either a lights-out knockout for Michael Page or a boring Ian Gary decision. And I think it's more realistic to go Ian Gary decision here. Doc?
Well, boring Ian Gary decision is an Ian Gary fight, as we've grown to expect in the UFC. And I do think that Michael Venom Page absolutely dominated Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland couldn't get anything going. And Ian Gary's going to have similar issues, in my opinion. Michael Venom Page he's also a professional boxer, so he has really good hands, and I think that's why his distance control is so good. So it's going to frustrate Ian Gary as well. Ian Gary will likely get get the fight to the ground. I mean, he has to be working on that. I don't think he's going to win in a striking battle. So as long as he stays disciplined and tries to get it to the ground, it's a good fight for Gary. But Michael Venom Page, I was not expecting what he did to Kevin Holland, and I think that it's going to continue here. You know, I usually don't roll with the Bellator PFL fighters, but what he did in his first outing out, it was tremendous, and can't wait to see what the walkout is.
I already re-recorded the song, re-released it. It was an interesting thing. You'll watch it when we walks out, but I don't know. I wouldn't be upset if Ian Gary gets knocked out. I'm rooting for it. I hate the guy.
He came in as a big prospect, the next Conor McGregor, and his prospect stock has dropped so much throughout his entire career because he can't get a finish. His personal stuff has gotten in the way of his fighting, and I don't think the UFC cares that much about him anymore. That's my take.
I share that opinion with you. I don't share that. Michael Page has done enough for me to convince him to take him yet to knock out Ian Gary, and I think it's going to be a boring fight. I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope I'm wrong. But if you've watched Ian Gary's last few performances, that's all I got to say. That's your main card. He has to finish a fight, and we have to finish the video. We'll get on to the the prelims and early prelims. The next one, that's your UFC main card. UFC 303 main card breakdown from myself and Doc, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.